Welcome to the City of Caldwell podcast. We have Char Ali Jackson joining us today. She is our PIO. Char, what is a PIO? And can you tell us just a little bit about your background, how you got to where you are now?
I got to Caldwell. So a PIO is a public information officer, and public information officer basically is what it says in the title, like I inform the public. So I do all the press releases, I do all the social media. I'm involved with a lot of events with you, as you well know, and just basically pushing that information out to the public. And I feel like this is a really exciting time for this position because I am the first PIO for the City of Caldwell. There was not one here previously. So for me, it's just all about, making my mark and making this this position as good as it can be, and, setting up a good place for, the next person who will follow in my footsteps. But hopefully that will be in a long time. That's what I do. As far as duties, again, news releases, I set up interviews with news media, so it's really important to have strong relationships with our local news media. And luckily, I come from a news media background. I used to be a news producer for KTVB, so organizing the newscast, and I built really good relationships with the people at KTVB, but I've been in this business for a while, so I've also, developed relationships with all those other media partners. Also in my duties, I do social media for the city, I help with the fire social media, and I do social media for the police as well. We have a team that kind of works on that, so it's not just me alone doing that.
Cool. Can you tell us where you grew up? Maybe tell us, I know you're married, so it's like who your husband is, you have kids, tell us a little, you don't have to go too much into that, but just the fact that who's Char as the person, so.
I'm married, and my husband works in commercial excavation, and we have 2 kids. Our twins are 19, so they're off doing their own adult things. And so it's a really exciting time in their life. A little bit difficult for, the mom and me because, they're out, and my son still lives at home, but my daughter's out doing her own thing. And so one at home, but obviously just, kind of learning to figure out what life is like without, little kids and, high school kids. And so it's a little bit different. But yeah, we live in Middleton, so we lived there for over 20 years, but it's nice to live close to Caldwell. So I've had a long commute previously, so it's really nice to be close to Caldwell.
Right. And you are known as the cat lady around the city, amongst the City of Caldwell employees. So what got you into cats? And I know that you really like Hello Kitty, and
I do.
You even visited the Hello Kitty Cafe, so tell us a little bit more about that.
Well, I don't know if I'm like a cat lady, but I guess I kind of have her in that name because you guys know that I love Hello Kitty. So yeah, I've always loved Hello Kitty. She's just been my thing ever since I was little. And then people know that you like her, so then they give you stuff, and so then your collection grows. And I just always, I grew up in a small town, so always loved animals, cats, dogs. Grew up with horses and all that, so just always loved animals. So I guess that's kind of where it comes from.
Cool. So, as the PIO, the Public Information Officer, what are some things about your job that kind of make it special? What are some things that are very specific to just your role that you think is pretty interesting? And maybe just tell us a little bit about if somebody in the general public's like, well, I have a lot of these questions that, that you have to keep answering. You're like, hey, I just want to answer it once. Here it is. Yeah. What is that?
I feel like I'm kind of that conduit. If someone out there is I just have no idea who to reach out to. I have a question about X and I have no idea where to start. I feel like I'm that person that you can reach out to who may or may not know the answer, but can get you that answer, because I just feel like I'm connected to kind of everyone in the city in one way or another. And it just, if I don't know the answer, again, I'll know who to reach out to and get it. And, I get a lot of random phone calls. I think it might be because our phone tree system, maybe people just push random numbers, but also my phone number is on the press releases. So I get a lot of random calls. The other day I got a call about someone wanted to know what an airplane was spraying over by the golf course. So I had to dig into that and figure out who was this plane that was spraying and what was being sprayed. So that was probably my most random thing I've dealt with lately. So Yeah, just a lot of random stuff comes my way, which I don't mind. And I think it's good to have someone that, people can reach out to, and, if they don't know. And there's a lot of things that happen in the city that people question, like, I don't understand how this works. And so, I understand that. And then to your point about what's special about my job is just seeing, like, all the things we do in the community, all of the outreach we do, the mayor going out to the communities and doing the food trucks, monthly, like that's a really great thing to see. Watching PD hand out the coats in the winter, just being out on the plaza and interacting with people. Like recently we did National Night Out, and we gave away, I think it was like 15 bikes, and we partner, the Starbucks in Caldwell was nice enough to get with the Walmart in Caldwell, who were very generous and gave us bikes. And we gave away 15 bikes to kids that night, and they were just all really excited. So it's just really fun to see that community engagement, and our officers like giving the kids the high five, and so that's a really special part of my job. And then just being able to capture those moments on on my phone, on my camera, and just taking pictures, and just seeing the smiles on the kids' faces. And people just don't realize like how important it is to officers to have that engagement, because they're out there just doing their job, and sometimes that's not a fun job. Like they're issuing a speeding ticket, or responding to domestic violence, and that's really difficult. So those times when they're out there in the public doing positive things, that's a really good juxtaposition for them to have.
Right. And then some of the community outreach stuff that you did recently too, that I remember, is you took a team out and chalked a bunch of sidewalks at different schools and all that. Right,
yeah. So sometimes you get looped into things, being the PIO, and I'm always, open to any of that. So 2C Kids has done the Chalk the Walk for the opening of school, started the school year, like just positive messages for the kids. So I just thought, well, yeah, I'll volunteer to do some schools. I'll get, some from the mayor's office. And, we went out and just, put some inspirational messages out there for kids to see when they walked into school, the first day of school last week. And so, yeah, I get to get out and do fun things like that. So that's rewarding.
Right. Tell us that one thing that you get a lot, where people ask a bunch of, the same question over and over again. I know I get those sometimes in the mayor's office, but I think one of them was, had to do with, why does it take so long for, releases to come out on certain things or whatnot, or even like how the police report certain things as well.
Yeah.
So can you talk to that a little bit?
Yeah, I think a lot of times I'll see on social media that, things may not move quickly enough for the public, and, I certainly understand that. And, I know when I'm writing a news release, there's just certain things I have to wait for. I have to wait for the detectives to issue their summary, because that's kind of where I get my information, or the officer. And so then I have to wait for that. And, sometimes that can take a little time. And then, I have people, I don't just write the press release on my own. Like I have a team that I confer with, which, usually includes Chief Ingram. And so, it takes some time to go back and forth. And, we want to get it right. So rather than push the information out there quickly, and it may not be right because we're still kind of waiting for facts to come out, we want to be, we just want to ensure that it's correct. And sometimes that does take a little bit of time. So, I would just tell the public, if they get a little bit frustrated, because, sometimes we'll see on Facebook like, oh, what's going on 13th and Albany, and, they don't hear anything for a while. It's not because we're, don't care, aren't paying attention. Like we just kind of have to wait for certain things to fall into place before we can issue information.
Right. Okay. So what's it like working, so you work with and for the mayor, the fire chief, and the police chief. So what's that like, having those kinds of, I don't know, royalty, I guess, within the city to work with?
It's been really great. Everyone I work with is wonderful. I mean, I do work for the mayor's office, but a lot of my work comes from PD. So I'm housed here, and I definitely work with, Chief Ingram a lot, Chief Frawley. But yeah, they're just all really great people, and I feel like I'm lucky to have, great leaders in my life, because that makes me a stronger leader and a stronger employee. It's kind of a shifting of gears at times. I might be working on a news release for police, and then, have to go to a golf tournament and take photos. Like, it's always like very different every day, just because I'm working for basically 3 different entities, And, at any given time, it can be something really, really intense. And then, maybe the next hour, it could be something, really light. And so you kind of have to be flexible and, willing to change gears pretty quickly.
Right. I'm just thinking about maybe like your day or week. It's, you could be, doing something with a SWAT team, one moment.
Yep.
You can go to a school with the mayor, taking a picture with him.
Yeah, absolutely.
Doing, the walking challenge or something with some kids.
Yep.
Or giving some high fives, and then right after that, there's a fire or
Yep.
A gas tank gets hit and thrown, 100 feet.
Let's hope not.
And then the fire's on the scene. You have to kind of like work with
Yeah.
that, and even the construction, that's going on. I know a lot of that, is you
Yep.
also.
Yeah, that's been very time consuming. Yeah, just, as with any city, we're growing. So with that comes growing pains. There's been a lot of construction. It's summertime in Idaho. So, I don't need to let everyone know, like, there's a lot of construction going on because it's summertime. So yeah, definitely dealing with that. Again, as I alluded to earlier, like, patience is the key there. It's going to be wrapped up this fall. And I just would encourage everyone to, hang in there. This is going to be so much better. It's like we've had to go through this really tough summer of construction, but it's going to be so much better. But yeah, just every day is just really different. I'll go to, we have some officers graduating on Friday, so I'll get to go take pictures there. So, that's really rewarding as well. I think my favorite thing is just, the graduations and like seeing when families come and will like do the pinning ceremonies. Kind of my favorite part of the job, I would say. So I'm looking forward to Friday.
Yeah. You get to see a lot of things that the general public doesn't get to see.
Absolutely.
So.
Yeah, for sure.
Was there anything else in particular that comes to mind that you're like, man, I really wanted to talk about or touch on this?
All that I can really think of, just how important it is, as city employees. Like, I think a lot of our positions are, taken for granted, or people don't realize what we do. And, when we do get that kudos from the public, which, I do see a lot on social media, it is really meaningful, and I think like a lot of people that work at the city, I mean, hopefully most everyone, we're here because we do love our jobs and we do love serving the public. So I think that's something special that, makes me come to work every day. So I'm thankful for that.
Cool. Well, Char, thank you so much. And by the way, it's Char.
It is.
A lot of people say Char.
They do.
But there's an S in there. It's a hard ch. So thank you so much for just spending some time out of your day and your busy schedule to just kind of talk to us, letting us and the public know just, who you are, what you do, and some of the special things that you get to do and see
Absolutely.
at the city. Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you.